guys, welcome to my home. I'm Brogan with the Kitchen Witch, and today we are going to be making some of my favorite summertime recipes. Whenever the solstice rolls around on the 21st of June, I love to celebrate by using bright, fresh ingredients that represent growth and abundance. These are all dishes that are great for a midsummer luncheon or a whimsical dinner party with friends. What makes these recipes so delicious are the big flavors and the natural magical properties that they all have. For our main course, we're preparing a roasted vegetable and sausage pasta that's tossed in a goat's milk feta and fresh basil. Then, a rosemary apricot shortbread cookie that is both savory and sweet. And finally, as an ode to my love of herbal cocktails and one of my favorite movies of all time, we're making my Kitchen Witch Midnight Mojitos, made with a raspberry mint lemonade that can be drank on its own or prepared as a mocktail instead. So stick around, let's get started with the recipes and whip up some magic. First, we're gonna get started with our cookies so that the dough can chill while we prepare our other dishes. These apricot thumbprints are melt-in-your-mouth sweets that are so easy to prepare and they never last long. I think the reason I love apricots so much goes far beyond their undeniable taste. Apricot themselves promote love and have been used for centuries in magic and in the kitchen for intimacy and affairs of the heart. Rosemary, on the other hand, promotes clarification, purification, and memory and has so many more culinary uses than just meat and potatoes. I love baking with rosemary because its piney notes pair so well with sweetness, and the base for these cookies is a classic shortbread. So, to get started, we're gonna use 2 sticks of room temperature salted butter. It's really important that the butter is super soft here because the butter and the vanilla are our only source of moisture. So we're gonna get 2 sticks, 3/4 a cup of white sugar, and we're gonna get this whipped together really well. Now during this stage, you're gonna wanna keep scraping down the bowl because like I said, there isn't a lot of moisture in the cookies and the butter is our main binding agent when it comes to the dough. Just scraping the sides and the paddle so that we get the right consistency. Now once our butter and sugars cream together really well, we're gonna go ahead and add 1 teaspoon of good vanilla extract and get that into the mix. Once our vanilla and butter is well combined, we're gonna go ahead and add our dry ingredients. We need 2 cups of APF. Just add it slowly. 1 second cup. Now, just as our dough is coming together, you're gonna turn off the mixer and we're gonna go ahead and add our rosemary. I'm doing about 1½ teaspoons of fresh chopped rosemary here. You can add under 1 or up to 2. It really depends on how herby you want them. I love the taste of rosemary, so I like when it's strong, but that is complete personal preference. So let's get that in there. Put the dough on top and just combine this for a few moments until we see those nice specks of dark green all throughout our shortbread. So what we're looking for is a nice firm dough with little peeps of color. Now, we're gonna wrap this up and let it chill in the fridge for at least an hour while we prepare everything else. Just going to dump the dough on top and create a nice round disc. And anything with this much butter is just bound to be good. Pack it up firmly. I'm gonna place this in the fridge and let's get started on our pasta. This pasta dish is so great for entertaining because it's filled with bold flavors, colors, and so much warmth. It's super versatile and can easily be made vegetarian or vegan with just a few added substitutions. Now what we have here are a few of my summer vegetable favorites. We've got yellow squash, eggplant, red onion, zucchini, sweet bell peppers, baby tomatoes, and some mushrooms. First, let's get started with chopping our veggies. So, we want small bite-sized pieces, but it is important to have a little bit of variety. This way we have different textures since they will roast at different times. One of my favorite memories growing up is my dad taking me to the local farmer's market. I used to just be in awe of all of the bright colors that would paint the stands. I think fresh produce is one of those simple gifts in life, how something so easy to access can bring us so much pleasure and nutrients. And another thing I love about this dish is how beautiful the pan looks. I've got about 6 ounces of tomatoes and 5 ounces of mushrooms, but you can change this or cater it to your tastes based on which ones you prefer or which ones you don't like so much. Another great thing about this dish is how easy it is to throw together. If you're cleaning out your fridge and just find some veggies that you want to use before they go bad, just follow these directions and you will have an amazing, healthy dinner in like 35 minutes. I also always pay attention to my colors. Like I went for the orange pepper since I already had the green zucchini and I already had the red tomatoes. I think the presentation makes it taste even better because it just emphasizes how fresh and vibrant everything is. I think that's good on the tomatoes. Okay, so that looks good. So now we're gonna toss this all together. And we are gonna drizzle all of this in some extra virgin olive oil, a nice generous amount. Some garlic powder, because all pasta needs some garlic element. A little bit of salt. And some cracked black pepper. And pop it in the oven at 425 degrees and let it roast until it gets a bit charred, anywhere between 25 to 30 minutes. And that looks pretty good to me, so let's go ahead and pop this in the oven and get started with boiling our water and preparing the sausage. Here I've got a hot cast iron skillet with about a tablespoon of olive oil. I'm gonna start browning a 1.5 pounds of sweet Italian sausage. Feel free to use a sweet and spicy blend or spicy altogether based on your own personal preference. I wanna get a nice color on all sides, and once it's about 80% cooked through, we're gonna remove the sausage from the heat. Here, I'm gonna chop our sausage roughly into bite-sized pieces. And once this is all cut up, we're gonna go back to the hot pan to get a nice sear on all sides. In a large pot, bring salted water up to a rapid boil. You can choose which type of pasta you'd like to use for this, however, I prefer rigatoni. So our veggies are roasted and our sausage is cooked through. I have my pasta drained and ready to go, and now it just is about assembling the pasta. What really brings this over the edge is the addition of goat milk feta and fresh basil. Now what basil does to this dish is bring a really nice aromatic, sweet and pepperiness. Basil is also said to increase protection and wealth. So this is one pasta you definitely should never feel guilty about eating. So I'm gonna give this a nice rough chop. Take a nice big bowl. We've got our cooked rigatoni, the roasted veggies. Look at those colors with those nice charred bits. And finally, we're gonna go ahead and add our sausage. I'm gonna give this a quick toss. And now finally, to dress it, a little bit more olive oil, salt, pepper, a little bit of crushed red pepper, our fresh basil, and finally a generous topping of some goat milk feta. We'll just crumble that on top. Bring it all together one more time. And this is ready to be served. And what's so great about this pasta is you can serve it warm, just like this, or let it pop in the fridge for a few hours and serve it as a pasta salad if it's really hot out, and help you cool down. So the dough is ready and has been chilling, and at this point on, it's pretty much just roll, press, and fill. The easiest way to do this is to take a sharp knife and to cut our dough into cubes. So I'm just pressing, making sure I get some even portions. It is so fragrant. The rosemary smells so nice. And taking each cube, we're just gonna roll into a little ball, place, and press. Now the good thing about these cookies is they don't spread much, which allows us to fit more on a baking sheet than usual, but you still don't want to overcrowd the pan too much so that they bake evenly. So let's get these all ready to go, and then we will fill them. So the cookies are pressed and ready to go, laid out on the baking sheet. This recipe gives us enough for anywhere between 25 to 30 small-sized cookies. I've got 15 here and another waiting in the fridge. The best way to fill them is to take a half a teaspoon measure, take our apricot preserves, and then using a 1/4 teaspoon measure, just slide it into the crevice of each cookie. So we're gonna get these filled, and we do wanna be generous with the filling because it brings that fruity brightness to the cookie itself and is what makes them such a good summertime solstice treat. Now I'm gonna pop these in the oven at 350 degrees until they're golden brown around the edges, anywhere between 12 to 17 minutes depending on your oven, so keep an eye on them. They will bake quickly, just look for a little bit of color and then you'll know they're ready to go. The pasta is finished, the cookies are done, and it's time for my favorite part of the night, my Kitchen Witch Raspberry Mint Mojitos. Now the basis of this drink all comes from the homemade lemonade, and it all starts with this raspberry mint simple syrup. So first, let me show you how that's done. Using a mortar and pestle, we have 1 generous handful of raspberries and 1 handful of freshly washed mint leaves. We're gonna mesh this finely and move over to our stovetop. In a medium saucepan, I have 1 cup of water and 1 cup of white sugar, and I'm going to go ahead and add 1/4 a cup of our raspberry mint mixture. Over medium-high heat, we're gonna stir this until well dissolved, about 1 to 2 minutes. Our syrup is ready and we can finish up with the lemonade. So first we're gonna need 3/4 a cup of fresh lemon juice. It's hard to tell how many lemons you'll need because some are juicier than others. The best advice is to just roll them and to use a lemon press like this one. So we're just gonna quarter this and press this until we get 3/4 to 1 cup. I like 3/4 because I don't like mine too tart. So I have a pitcher with about 1.5 cups of ice, some more raspberries and fresh mint leaves, and we're gonna start with our 3/4 a cup of freshly squeezed lemon juice. Now using a mesh strainer, we're gonna go ahead and add our raspberry mint syrup. This is just gonna try and stop all of the seeds from getting in there and spilling a little bit on the way too, but all delicious things are a little bit messy. So once we get all of that there, we're gonna finish it off by adding anywhere from 4 to 6.5 cups of water. I would fill it to the top if you want to keep this as a non-alcoholic lemonade. I like to fill it to about here. Give it a stir and top it off with some seltzer water. Now you can keep this in the fridge and let it cool for a few hours, but I simply cannot wait. And the best way to drink this is with some white rum. I remember when I was little and we'd watch Practical Magic and I thought, I cannot wait till I'm older to have some midnight margaritas. But it turns out tequila is not my thing, so this is my own happy compromise. That is a love spell. And there we have it, my 3 favorite summer solstice dishes. These are simple and natural recipes that are sure to please. Thank you for joining me. I hope to see you soon. I'm Rogan Wu, the Kitchen Witch, cooking with love, magic, and lots of flavor.